area go through. Okay, we very quickly go through all the sections right, today. So touching on the sum 1 to 12 and see how this will apply. Okay, study and down notes as we go along as well. Okay, so the first section we deal with fundamentals of strategic management. Okay, and here we talk about let me enhance so that you can see it. Right. What we talk here, strategy formation, approach strategy, who is responsible, right? Talk about resource-based, precision-based strategy, right? What type of model that we will use? Is it rational, emergent, freewheeling opportunism? And there are management accountants in strategy development. Okay, this is the first section of our book, and then go quite quickly into managing the business strategy. Okay, now we need to apply this into our study, mainly because we need to kind of focus on what type of strategy would these guys develop. Right? That will be one of the key things that we have to understand and say, okay, so what strategy would they develop? What about strategy?
You mean the rational model instead?
Sorry?
You mean I'm within the rational model or the emergent one?
So we may think it's a rational model as well as emergent. Right? So might be between these two. Anything from you, Tarun?
No.
And the basis, why did you say rational or the emergent? So let me go into the rational model very quickly, right? It gives a very good structure, right? It does a long time. It's quite formal. And the reason that Swati would have chosen this is because even it's in a fashion industry, it's a very, very large company. It's got many stores, got a lot of it's in the stock exchange, and it's expanded globally. The complex supply chain, any number of products, and the advantage is it kind of forces the whole system to think, right? So decision making, formal targets, right? Enforce organizational coherence and coordination. Now, I think these ones are quite important for us, right? Because our organization is quite large. What are your views, Tarun, on this?
The purpose of the organization is to look at expansion, right?
Yes.
That's one strategy. So I don't know how to into this model. We identify risks and opportunities.
Yes.
And another thing is this model assumes that you should know everything, and the management might not know everything about the different markets.
Okay. Swati, what do you think?
Then rational model is good, but each model has its own benefits and its own
Correct.
disadvantages. So the disadvantage of rational model would be that they wouldn't know what is coming up for them.
Yes. The advantages is that agility, isn't it?
Right.
because you're in the fashion industry, so that agility. So there are certain definite advantages, all advantages, will, isn't it?
Right.
Size of the organization, size, complexity, but agility is required. And this is a bit of a question mark when it comes to rational model, right? So that's the reason why you're thinking of an emergent strategy. Okay? Rational model, again, it shows that structure, right? Very, very structured manner that you will go through. And it goes to the next page as well, right? About the alternate strategies, which is freewheeling opportunism, mentalism, bounded rationality, right? And we will also have the emergent strategy. Do you want to elaborate a bit more on emergent strategy? So,
It's like you go to day-to-day life, and whatever comes up based on that, we finally end up building up a firm strategy. Unlike opportunism, which is uh, constantly going from like it is, and you learn on that, and then you grab the opportunities and stuff. Emerging would be like a mixture of rational with freewheeling. So it's like you learn from your even whatever you do, your performance or not, and then create a strategy at the end.
okay. So, Tarun, does that make sense here?
Yeah, I think that's yeah. It's basically no fixed strategy, but you evolve, right, as you go along. You
Yeah.
find issues, and then you adopt, basically you creating strategies. Uh,
So, freewheeling opportunism, we talk about flexible and creative, undisciplined and uncoordinated, reacting rather than acting. Okay. As it comes along, we do it, right? Um, but in emergent strategy, what is the key difference that you can see, Swati? One difference here.
This is not that it's not possible as much as freewheeling opportunism.
That it's not that radical, isn't it?
Right. Right.
The patterns of behavior rather than being imposed. So we're kind of going in between strategies, right? Because of the industry we're in.
Right.
So let's go into resource-based strategies. Yeah, I'm just going here just to go through our areas very quickly. What is the accountant's role here? What would as management account? So that's a key one for you, right? In this worst case, in when you're trying to develop a strategy, any idea? I think you would be like basically one of the members. So remember, you will be a key your manager, a key stakeholder in developing these strategies. Okay, it's not that you're going to develop the whole strategy on your own and then direct other people. You will be one of the key stakeholders in developing the strategy. What else? And
Risk, we need by risk.
What you will do is formulate a structure, right? Certification. And your role is you kind of, you're like this orchestra, you're bringing things together. It's not that you will be able to do everything, but you bring things together. What else would you do? You will environment. I mean, you're gonna be looking at data, right? You need a lot of data. So you're a senior management accountant, right? So you will be looking at this, designing systems, recording of information. So basically, design of the systems. We'll take a stage for you. Remember, management accountants deal with a lot of information externally as well as information from the future, right? So it's not only the past information that you capture from your financial statements or otherwise is just a small fraction of what you will be basing your ideas on and advice on. You will be gathering a lot of information from other areas, right? External as well as internal, but future plans. Anything else? Anything you can do in Rio. So a finance manager who works for Rio reply to finance director. Okay, subjects and strategic matters. So definitely, this is part. Then performance measures, right? So reporting. And we talk about establish CR, establish reporting initiative. So as looked at global reporting initiative there.
Sorry. Yeah, discussed last time, yeah.
Yes.
They plan to, yeah.
Okay. Then I don't go on because we will come through this in a later stage, right? But given, and let's go into the next area. Right. Governance, roles and responsibilities of directors. Now, this will definitely be a big part, right? Now, you will have committees that you can talk about, right? Different committees. How many committees, Swati?
Committees?
Yes.
Risk committee, nomination committee, and a committee for remuneration.
So currently we have these 4, right? But maybe you also have additional committees. There's nothing. What says at least minimum have these 4 committees, right? But a couple of things that come to mind is CSR, right? Have a committee for CSR as well, okay? That come to mind.
You have strategic committee as well, strategic team or whatever. Looking into expansion and the industry is so dynamic.
Maybe
Yeah.
due to dynamic industry.
Yeah.
Right. Uh, Looking is that we have sufficient non-executive directors. So NEDs, right? Non-executive directors and their roles. So how many executives do we have?
7.
So currently, we have 7 directors. Okay, so quite represented, right? And what we know, how many, what they clearly stated, how many committees they've got. Right.
Let's see.
Number of committees that they've got. Have they stated the number of committees that they've got?
No, I don't think so.
Right. That be something that will come into your unseen. Right. Because we've got quite a number of they'll definitely ask in any one of their variants. They'll ask about the composition of the directors and the improvements that you can suggest, as well as they can also ask about the committees, because they've not specifically stated about the number of committees that they've got. However, they've stated very clearly they've got 7 non-executive directors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any other things what you can come up with? Anything with respect to and or with respect to the committees?
No. There's one thing, because they have like 7 NEDs and they have 4 executive directors.
Yes.
It's an issue because the NEDs are like far more than the executive.
Good question, right? So I've got 7 NEDs and the 4 directors, right? Is in question, right? The composition of directors. So I say we'll come and we'll do this one, okay? We got 4 NEDs, 7 NEDs, 4 executive. Then what are some of the issues related to it? I'm just saying, well, executive directors primarily, what is their role? Okay, because executive directors' role will constitute. Let me go in very quickly. It's stated here in so executive director's role is primarily dealing with operations of the company, right? And they basically need to be responsible for the operations of the company. In this case, what it's saying is we are seeing a growth in the company, but we see only 4 directors. So there is an opportunity for more directors to come on board, right? To come on board because of the growth in the company. Any others?
I think, wait, I've made a mistake. There are 6 in executive directors, right? Okay.
Sorry, yeah? Executive directors are there?
I think there are 6. I said these guys are the executive directors by mistake.
Right, 6.
Yeah.
Right. Still, we can see
Composition is perfect then.
7, 6, right? So still, when we look at the composition and then we look at with the growth, is it, what do these guys do specifically, right? So what we will do a little bit later is to see what exactly these guys do. Are they covering the key components of our organization, key strategic components of the organization, right? That is for me a key question to say, well, let's very quickly go into our composition of directors, right? And let's
actually it's directors and non-executive, including Rita and non-executive chairman.
right. So what exactly do these 8 guys do then?
So you have human resources, procurement, IT, marketing, logistics, finance, and obviously CA.
Procurement, human resources, right? So we have anything missing here? Swati, anybody else? For me, I see one area that's kind of not you have a director there for that, and that is to form CSR, sustainability. Because such a big role, right, and going across the organization, right? So I'm looking at a director who would focus on this specifically. What are you on?
Right, reports under procurement.
Yes.
So, yeah, possibly independent. Like in our company, we have a bill function separately, and that this person sits on the board, and CSR really falls under that person, which is the function is called business reputation and responsibility.
Right.
And
yes.
Ethics.
Right. It's interesting. In your company, it's under legal, whereas in this company, it's under procurement. Right? So they think only the procurement side of it has CSR.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. Now that's their kind of view. But CSR, sustainability, they go across the organization and touch every aspect of it. And yes, it has a legal flavor to it, for sure. But this is something that you can argue and state quite well that you may even need a director, right, just focusing exclusively on CSR. I'm saying CSR sustainability mainly because of the prominence it's getting in the recent years, right? CSR sustainability was not such a hot topic 2 years ago, but it's come to the forefront now. It's playing a major role where CSR reporting becomes compulsory, right? People's KPIs are linked to CSR sustainability projects and how they are behaving. So things have changed quite a bit. That's why I'm looking at a separate director for this. And you can justify that as well. Okay. Let's go into the action. Right. Responsibility. Are you clear about that? Swati?
Yeah.
here. Let's do the next one. Core objectives and stakeholders. And so this again, we talk about the ethics. Again, talk about sustainability. So let's very quickly go into through areas. Now, we will find from here on, from the first onwards, everything actually links to your mission and your goals, right? Your planning, and if it's your IT planning, if it's your HR, marketing, everything is linked to the mission of the company and the growth and what you're planning on doing. Okay, what goals, objectives have to be quite clear, and goals, basically they should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Otherwise, it does not make any sense to you. And this is where you can have KPIs linked as well, right? KPIs, you can talk about a balanced scorecard. You can talk about linking to the company's towards their remuneration. Right? What are your critical success factors? Right, long to short-term critical success factors. Right. But in our case, if we get our area, what would be some of the KPIs? Anyway, where would the KPI sit under? I think. So I go into ones, let's say profitability, right? We will talk about that, profitability, of course. KPI you have.
In the 5 years plan and the financial reports, it's
yes.
there, right? Number of stores, I guess, the normal KPIs.
Okay.
Again, I think for gross margin, operating profit margin.
Yeah.
These are standard.
Yes, these are pretty standard. Yes, correct. Short and long-term goals, right? I will put here as well. Again, you will have KPIs related to sustainability and which that will take center stage. Right? But your funding cost and associated costs. A huge amount of funding going through now. This is a very large company, and you're in the constant mode of growth. Okay, and then you have the associated costs related to it.
But I think it could be also new product lines and things like that.
Yeah, new products in the market share, right? Digitized. So one of the, we can link is technology. And sales. So let's go down and see. Well, here you are. So it's all of your KPIs have to link to the critical success factor and the mission of the organization. That's how it has to flow through. Okay. Who are our stakeholders? We will have quite a number of stakeholders, right? We will have a significant number of stakeholders that we have to deal with. So stakeholders have you done a stakeholder analysis? Mandler's matrix. If the Mandler's matrix, what I would suggest is do the Mandler's matrix as homework, right? And then try to slot in the stakeholders, right? This is another point that we can discuss today, right, in tonight's class. Right? Matrix and identify the key stakeholders, okay? Because we huge operation. So therefore, it is important that we focus on our stakeholders and come with strategies on how to work with these stakeholders, right? Then here, Mandler's matrix. So, like I said, let you do this on your own. Okay. See, for exam, these are some of the key things that they may ask you to work with your stakeholders, right? There would be a scenario where, certain stakeholders who are very strong in their vision has a negative view of your company. How, right? Have any examples, Tarun, in your company?
See, basically, important is shareholders, right? Because of listed company. So you communicate with the shareholders through the analyst, covering the stock.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very important. I think the head office keeps in mind, and then whenever they have a quarterly results, they organize an analyst call and giving them flavor of our strategy and what's happening around in the markets, where we operate, and what it looks like.
Swati, anything that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think shareholder is pretty important because we need to know in what way we should react to what set of stakeholders. And
yes.
moreover, we need to set strategies.
Mm-hmm. Correct. We are having quite a number of stakeholders. So I want you to do this as your homework. Identify the stakeholders in our case study. Come up with strategies. So don't come up with only the important ones, right? So put them into the 4 quadrants. Identify them. Then say, what type of strategies would you use to practically communicate with these stakeholders? Okay, what are some of the typical issues that you will come across? Okay, so discuss this. This is one of the topics that will definitely come. I'm not sure which variant, but it may come in your exam because you have got too many stakeholders in your case study. Okay, that you should know quite well. So basically, how you manage them. That is the thing you need to work on, right? How are you going to work? Manage these guys, how we're going to communicate to them, right? And you should not be communicating. You should wait till something happens to communicate, right? You should do this in advance on a regular basis. That's how you manage them so that they, even before the issue happens, you manage them. So then they're aware, they're comfortable with you. They know, yes, something's happened, but not to worry. These guys always inform us. So I think it's such an issue, right? I would have told us immediately. So that kind of comfort that you have to give to your the stakeholders. Okay. About ethics, responsibilities, corporate responsibilities, and organizations' obligations to maximize positive stakeholder benefits while minimizing negative effects in its action. Right. So by trying to get profitability, it does not mean that you have to do it, an ethical way or, cut corners and to achieve a profit. Right. today, the organizations are punished severely for being ethical or not following the CSR code. Okay, and this comes to light even before the regulators state anything. It comes to light with social media pretty fast. Okay, that these guys can do. You can come up with some suggestions as well. Okay. So interesting part where they say big businesses have resources to fight inequalities. What does it mean?
These as in varieties of income between different income.
This part, business as a fixer for social problems, full statement. Okay, I'll start with that. What? What does the PPP mean? Public-private partnerships. Have you heard of that? Yeah. So business as a fixer for social problems. Can you give me an example, or can you give me anything that can happen?
Opportunities. So.
Okay.
Actions and stuff they do, and then for example, there are a lot of companies go out and do a lot of social work, such as lampposts and provide electricity for free to little towns and stuff.
Mhm.
I think apart from donations also, there's a lot of things that companies do these days.
Mhm. Actions do things.
Yeah.
Why say that? Why would it be the last thing?
Because I think in Morocco,
Yes.
there can be a lot of people in the middle. The middlemen could take up the money, but I think
Yes.
the resources are provided directly. That would definitely benefit them more than just giving them money.
So, talk the first one. Business as a fixer of social problems. So the business has. I mean, if I talk these two function, you that is a fixer as well as the resources, where the business fight inequalities, right? So business, big business, they have a lot of resources, as in not money, more than the money part of it. Yes, they do have the money, but the people, right? Let's imagine, in your case, your company is a very large organization, right? It's a hotel industry. It has people with a lot of skills, right? These skills only in the hotels, but they can use these skills in other areas as well, right? If they come up, if you say, right, let a particular village, right, and say, well, can you look at it and think about, how they can improve, how they can be sustainable, how they can eat properly, how they can, with their land, how they can meet basic needs, right? There are lots of things that they can come up with, right? You guys can just go into a place and they will see opportunities for the village to become a profit center by basically putting tourism, right? They could look at the land and say, well, you could farm this type of crop, and this is the way you can make make really good food out of it. And all this I'm doing without using huge money. I'm I mean only the resources of the land and of the people, right? Upskilling them, right? I have, okay? So this take money, right? This purely knowledge I'm imparting to the others who did not have that knowledge, okay? And nothing that happens is water is a very, very scarce resource, right? Again, we are companies going in and then fixing that problem by digging wells, and when women and children do not have to go very far. Sometimes they have to walk miles and miles to get water, right? So that consumes all their life. Whereas you put in a well, it's just that they did not have the sufficient power or knowledge how to activity done. They were not able to get the water, right? See, how to promote their village, how to eat properly. These are basic human needs that can be promoted by just utilizing their manpower. Right? So one of the things that in Australia they used to advocate a lot is they used to get children from low economic background to come and visit organizations, right? They used to come and visit our organization, which was the top organization listed in the stock exchange, and encourage a lot of women to participate in the organization in these events where they mix up the children with the corporate executives. So it is interesting to understand from their point of view, how they see us. And, they always think that these people have come from ex-families, they're all rich, they've all gone to fantastic schools from day one, and they are here because of that. Right? It was very humbling to listen to some of my colleagues talking about their background and where they came from and how they have come up to this level, right? That kind of was kind of a light bulb moment for these kids, where suddenly they realized, oh, I don't have to just follow my parents. Because most of them had parents either, they were young, they were in drugs, or they didn't have parents. So they always used to think, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. These things, this is how the government and other organizations, the schools used to link organizations to children. Any thoughts? These things happen?
I think very good thing.
Mm-hmm. Other thing, in Australia, the pregnancies are very high. Right? So because of that, they bring in a lot of girls to meet the senior people in organizations, females, right? To kind of give them encouragement, to kind of give them motivation, and to see from their angle. And also had things where we had to mentor people, right? Mentor kids, and this is not face-to-face. It is somewhat like this, like a WebEx session. We mentor people and find out, how they're doing and their education, things like that. So again, even if you can, a percentage, if you can take them to the right path, the country in itself achieves a huge advantage, and of course the people, right? Then with sustainability, right? We have in our case, there's a lot of things that we can talk about sustainability, because we got so many products that we manufacture and so many manufacturers that we touch, and also if you look at our chain, right? There are many opportunities that we can do things in a very sustainable fashion. So you can link the value chain with sustainability. And make sure you link these two, because this is the first time they have touched value chain, okay, in a strategic case study. They've never done that before, and they have gone to a great length to explain, put up that value chain, the diagram, and so on. So for them to do it, they will definitely have questions on this. Right? How are you guys on the value chain, that subject?
Yeah, bit of the value chain system.
Yeah. First, I want to find out how is your knowledge on the theory part of value chain, and the second one, application of value chain into your. The one is the CSR to value chain.
After the value chain system and the theory part of it. CSR.
Okay.
I have the theory aspects of the value chain and the model and the whole diagram and stuff. But how to connect it to the CSR part of it?
Okay. What about Arun?
Yeah, I have some idea on how to do CSR, like for example, logistics, right? So how to reduce the number of deliveries or number of movements, basically.
Yes.
The carbon footprint will be one of the ways to connect it.
Yes.
And the suppliers and the factory, or like factory and outsource suppliers, you can have many other things, many things which
Yes.
could, CSR, like how your material is procured from whether it's transparent, and what working conditions are there in factory, the minimum wage, diversity. Every quadrant or every circle, you can have something or other linked to CSR.
Right. So as a homework, since you are quite familiar with the CSR and value chain, right? Just one slide, if you can put up. Okay, this is my value chain. These aspects I'm going to be looking into. Right? If you do that, and it's an active kind of learning, and then you can present it back to us, because that way you'll never ever forget it. It's in your mind, and you can just take it and apply it into your case study, right? Because this is something I'm pretty sure that will come in, right? See, our value chain is there so much in this case. You have to find ways of using it, because they will be asking quite a lot of questions on this. Okay. We can at and triple bottom line, right? The environmental quality, social justice, economic prosperity. Again, what we're saying is how can we be good corporate citizens? We can be profitable, but that does not mean that we are going to be just profitable and don't consider the environment, okay, and do social work because we've got a good asset base. I'm not talking about asset base in a traditional sense and talking about just the balance sheet assets. I'm talking about our people who are an asset to the company, who the non-balance sheet assets, which are most important thing for the company, right? And the ones who will make the difference in this social sustainable activity. They are the only assets that will bring up the social sustainable activities of the company, right? I think we have a very good opportunity to use our company assets into increasing that. Okay. Ethics, again, can play a significant role because we have a lot of opportunities to use ethics and your exam, right? Because ethics, you have to know, again, your files, the CIMA ethics, and then they may come up in an exam situation where you have to apply them to state, well, is it an ethical situation? To deal with it? How to disassociate myself with it? Okay. Um, then let's do the next chapter. Environment. Now, this is in our quite a bit. And the complexity for our case here is we are dealing with different environments. So not only the environments that we are working with, selling the products to, but also the environments that we are sourcing our products from. Right? There are two things that we have to be considered. We have to consider. Now, let's go into the environment. Here we talk about the organization and its environment. Now, environment will have impacts on in our strategies, in our fund strategies, in our set strategies, right? And operational strategies. So basically, every part of the company strategies will get impacted by this environment. Okay. And it is certainly a risk, and we have to ascertain and kind of understand how are we going to manage these situations, right? It's a very, very complex area for us, right? And the key, like, okay, can we use as a model? Porter's 5 forces are there. You should know very well what are the Porter's 5 forces, right? It's a case of then application of that into your case study. In our case, if you look at the industry, what do you think industry is SWOT? If you apply the Porter's 5 forces, what's the industry do you think we are in?
I think power of the customers and the suppliers is really high in our industry.
Mm-hmm.
Because consider that we are highly dependent on the suppliers.
Mm-hmm.
In case one of them defaults or something happens, it's going to be really disadvantageous for us because we change our fashion really fast. So we need
Mm-hmm.
them to cooperate with us. I would say.
Yeah.
And if the customers do not like our products or something, or if they find us very expensive,
Mm-hmm.
then that could disrupt our operations because if it runs fast, then we won't be able to change them fast as well.
Yeah, correct. And we 91 million product items, isn't it?
Right.
Yes. Okay.
And considering the set of new entrants, I think in the fashion industry as a whole, there can be a lot of new entrants.
Mm-hmm.
Our products are a little, or our way of working is a little different than the others. Like ours is a fast fashion line.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that.
Mm-hmm.
Our particular line, new entrants would be a little difficult.
Yes.
There wouldn't be so many new entrants.
Okay, because what we have is quite a lot of come in. We need to have a lot of investment, isn't it?
Right.
And I mean, it's not easy to build up 91 million product, right? And operate and have this kind of growth just overnight. Right? Having said that, we have a lot of competitors in the market.
The fashion industry as a whole, yeah, we have a lot of competition.
Correct. Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. So, let me go into the other area. This is quite interesting. Strategic intelligence is what a firm needs to know about the environment to enable it to anticipate change and design appropriate strategies to deal with changing environment conditions. This is quite critical for us, okay? We need to have information from internal and external sources because our operation is quite a large operation, right? We need this kind of a lot of information to work with our suppliers, our friends, what's going on about our customers, about our currency, where is it heading towards, right? So what type of, how would you gather this thing, the strategic intelligence? How will you get it? It's well good to say, yes, we should have strategic intelligence, but how are you going to get it? How strategic intelligence? Anyway,
You can do a lot of like market research and stuff.
yes,
You can do research, competitor analysis, and product analysis ourselves.
yes.
Um,
But in now you are a senior market management accountant who needs a strategic intelligence. How are you going to get this? Anything, Aaron?
Yeah, from database, right? We get regular feedback from the stores, from customers as well.
So what you have to do is design your because you are you are an architect the architect of this system data, right? So design your IT systems to enable strategic intelligence, correct? Because where a big data plays a role, okay? You have that in order to get this kind of information. It is critical. So now market research, Swati, because that alone is not sufficient, right? You need to have a lot of information to work with, right? And you may have a completely different completely different department looking at this and working on this and providing you information, right? Because you need market data, product data, current political data, environmental data, because you're looking at where should I invest next? Should I move to next? Where do I have my next stores, right? So all this information. So what organizations can allow for uncertainty in their strategic decision is to make by use of real options, right? May not make a policy written by itself, but it may open up other potential lucrative projects, which an organization then can take advantage of. This is quite true, right? Where options to make follow investments, options to abandon the project, options to wait. Now, in this case, all projects that you may go into, right? You have to see, well, in this if you have to analyze an NPV, right, or as a project, should I get into this project? Just by numbers, you can't say, well, you know what, this project is not gonna fly. It's got a really bad. It's not have a good NPV. However, you need to think beyond the numbers, right? Beyond the numbers when it comes to investments. That's what this is. It's follow-on investment, options to abandon a project, right? Options to wait. Any questions on that?
Yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So this is quite self-explanatory. Where are you now? Where do you want to go? And how you want to basically close the gap, right? How you're going to close it. So again, it's important to link to your, in this case, it's important to link to your targets and goals, and then ascertain, okay, this is where I am. My target profit or my target growth is X, to have like 20 every month or something like that. And then how am I going to do it? How am I going to close the gap? Right? Forecast, right? Forecasting as a technique would be important to you, because again, you going into heavy investments. Also, forecasting on trends and sales is important for you to analyze, the probability. Because if you don't forecast, you may run into a lot of problems in the short term as well as the long term. Right? Any views on you for this? Talk about NPVs as well, because you're projecting the cash flows of a particular project, right? Let's go. Planning industry scenarios. This is looking at different. Well, I'm going to a different project, another new project. How does it work, right? And you have a brainstorm with some of the key people. They look at and work with people on the ground, and then say, okay, where are we going to head towards in this case, right? So playing on different scenarios to see, well, what are our risks again, and how to mitigate them. Okay, taking that risk, is it worth going into that particular area? Okay. Anything, Swati, that you can talk about foresight?
Considering that they have a fast-moving fashion line, it's like really important to them, because they need to plan where they're going to place their products, when they need to place their products, what trends are up. Like they have to the whole plan, the placement and stuff like that. So it becomes important in kind of work that Rio does.
Yes, I would say techniques, tools, right? For scenario planning are pretty important because of actually they're in, right? And this will enable them to kind of go through the cycles and see, and how it will impact the company. Okay. And game theory again is important, because they will look at, if I put in this product in the market, how will the competitors act, right? What would be their reaction? Right? So you need to come up with these trees and think, how can we what would be the market reaction now? For example, when Etihad had Nicole Kidman coming on and right, the premium suite, right? What Emirates did was Emirates took on Jennifer Aniston. But if you look at YouTube, the number of views, Jennifer Aniston views far exceeds Nicole Kidman's views, right? And it's quite interesting to say, but different dimensions. And so when they come up with something like that, they would definitely should have thought, or would have thought, well, the airlines, their main competitor would also food, right? How would they react to that? What are the things that they would do? Okay. Now, just recap what did. We've just finished, and we've come into for resources and capabilities. I thought I would be able to, very ambitious of me, I thought I will be able to skim through this quite quickly, but you can see there's quite a bit that we need to do, but I just want to go through resources and capabilities. Sure, I'll be able to finish it off as well today. It's quite important for us. And let's look at the tools that we can do. Right? Position audit, I'm not going to be looking to that much. Okay. What are value drivers? Right? Important for you to figure out what are the key value drivers for you in this, right? In organization, in this, with, right? That will be another thing for you to kind of do as homework, value drivers, right? So see if you can do a slide on what are the key value drivers for Rio, right? Okay, so these are of your unique selling propositions. This is what you've got. These are the key things that's making Rio tick, and that's how they're really good at what they're doing. And it's not just about identifying the value drivers and how to keep, right, value drivers and how to maintain. It's different. It's another thing to find out how to maintain them, right?
Right. I think value points of Rio would be definitely the designs that they have.
Yeah. What I would ask you to do, is create a slide for our evening class. Just create one slide. Okay, these are my key value drivers. What do I do to maintain them, right? Okay. So you're kind of going through it, seeing it, and say, right, these are my value drivers. This is what I'm going to be doing, right? That's it. Okay. We said about value chain. Taro is something on the value chain and the CSR, which is quite interesting. Let's look at that. And to supply management. Now, this supply chain management, it is quite important, right? Because we very complex supply chains. What's so important now is strategically important, right? It involves contract arrangement, substantial physical infrastructure, right? And we can't change them in the short term. So this supply is a strategically important to us, right? And we are reliant on so many others for our products, to getting from and to a place, right? So we'll look into this again, because I look at strategic supply chain management, right?
So what's the difference between value chain and supply chain?
Right. This is quite a big difference. There's one second. So it would entail is value chain. You look at stuff that's inside the organization as well, right? In the value chain. Okay, supply management is network. It talks about closing links, right? Rather than a pipeline of close links and greater cooperation by which the firm aims to manage the chain from the input to the commerce, right? It's the logistics, right? Value chain, it goes beyond that, right? Now, I'm talking about in logistics, outbound logistics in supply chain, right? But this goes right. I would say the value chain is far greater strategic than the supply chain management. Yeah.
So can you say supply chain is kind of physical in terms of movement, how you map it, and the value chain is basically, you look at how it's moving from start to finish in a way.
And it goes across the organization as well, Tarun. You can see the support activities, the operating
Resources,
activities.
because it's resources could be internal, external, right?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. We have the new product portfolio and the new product development as well, right? Before that, in responsiveness, the relationships are quite important in the supply chain management, okay? And also have the computer systems all linked, right? In order to link to these things, linked to, our goods. Where are our goods? We're talking about 91 million items floating around, okay? Either air, sea, or road. Okay? So it's very important for us. Our inventory will be quite high, as well as it's important as how to manage this. Okay. The portfolio, right? Use many products with all these complex things going on. New development is also quite important to you. If you can't just do BCG matrix for one product, kind of maybe certain lines, and it will be very complex, right? You need to come up with some different ideas in that. Then we talk about benchmarking, where we benchmark certain areas, right, of our organization, right? With that, what I will do is end this morning class, right? And then we go into identifying, evaluating strategic options. But before that, how I will start our evening class is look at work from both of you, right? And then we'll go into some issues that may come up, because there are quite a few issues that are there and that may come up in our study. We have touched upon them before as well, but again emphasize it in this class, and we'll try, hopefully we'll have some time to go through the rest of this book. Okay? Any questions?
I was just wondering, how we will apply, it's good these materials we are reading, and what are the, different courses, different principles.
Yes.
But if any scenario comes,
I get what you're saying. What we will do is now get familiar with what are the issues, how you're going to apply. So that's why I said, I want you to work on applying the the CR as well as value chain, bring it to the CSR, see how it's going to be applied. Have that, okay? Go through that. Tell me how you're going to do it. But then when we go into our mock exams, then I will show you the application. Because now, by that time, by February, kind of after a few classes, we're going straight away into a mock. I'm not going back into this, right? Mm-hmm. Because you will be quite familiar with your case study, with your theories, so immediately you would know how to apply. All right. Okay. Yeah. See you in the evening.
All right. What time is that?
8 o'clock in the night.
8 o'clock. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.